You know that feeling? Head finally hits the pillow, you are just exhausted, but suddenly your brain goes into overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
The to-do list, that weird thing you said yesterday, it just replays. And sleep feels miles away.
Right, tossing, turning.
Maybe you peek at the clock and it's those horrible middle of the night hours. And, well, if you're around 50 or over, maybe this feels a bit too familiar. Our sleep rhythms can shift.
It's really common. And it's not just about feeling tired, is it? Poor sleep really hits our overall health. But what if the tools to help were already, well, in your kitchen? Natural things that could gently guide your body back to sleep.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Forget the medicine cabinet for a minute. We're doing a deep dive into, everyday foods that can actually work with your nervous system.
They're like these subtle coaches, not sledgehammers.
Right. Helping your body remember how to sleep well. And the goal here isn't just a quick fix. It's about lasting change.
Precisely. They're not sedatives. They
Yeah.
give your body the building blocks it needs for its own sleep processes.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we've zeroed in on 7 food categories. Things like bananas, almonds, cherries, kiwis, even sauerkraut. Oatmeal, chamomile, walnuts too.
Quite a list.
Yeah. Our mission is basically to unpack how these foods work and how they might help you get that really restorative sleep. So let's start with one most people probably have right now, the banana.
Ah, the humble banana, often just seen as, quick energy. But it's actually pretty amazing for sleep support.
Really?
Yeah, it's got this great combo of 3 things: potassium, vitamin B6, and magnesium.
Okay, potassium and magnesium. I know they're good for us, but how do they help with winding down?
Well, both are really important for muscle relaxation. Think of them as natural muscle soothers. They help release that physical tension that can keep you awake.
Like restless legs.
Exactly. That feeling could definitely be linked to needing more of these minerals.
That makes sense. It's not just the brain buzzing. Sometimes your body is just tense.
Yeah.
So what about the B6, vitamin B6?
Okay, B6 is super important for this conversion process. It helps turn tryptophan, that's an amino acid, into serotonin.
Serotonin, right, the feel-good chemical.
Yeah.
Makes you feel calm, relaxed.
Exactly. But it doesn't stop there. Serotonin is then used to make melatonin.
Ah, melatonin, the main sleep hormone, the one that tells your brain, okay, time to shut down.
Precisely. It's all connected. So bananas are basically helping your body make the hormones it needs for sleep.
We found this really interesting example. A woman named Rosa, 65. She had trouble waking up at night, restless legs, and she started eating one ripe banana. And get this, it had brown spots on it about an hour before bed.
And what happened?
Well, apparently, pretty quickly, her restless legs calmed down and she started sleeping more deeply, more consistently.
And those brown spots, that ripeness actually means the sugars are simpler, easier to digest, so your body gets those nutrients like magnesium and B6 faster.
That's a great tip. Look for the spots. And for a nice bedtime snack, the sources mentioned warm oat milk, banana pudding. Sounds pretty soothing.
Oh, absolutely. Comfort food.
Now, here's something else. The ripeness level itself matters, beyond just the spots.
It does. Greener bananas have more resistant starch. That's a type of fiber.
Okay.
And that resistant starch is fantastic food for the good bacteria in your gut. This gets into the whole gut-brain axis thing.
Right, the gut talking to the brain.
Yeah. So feeding those good microbes can indirectly send signals to your brain to, relax. And some of those bacteria are actually linked to producing sleep-promoting substances. So even the fiber type plays a role.
Wow. So bananas aren't like a sleeping pill that just knocks you out,
Not at all.
but they're gently helping your brain remember how to fall asleep naturally. A little nudge.
Exactly. A nutritional nudge.
Okay, let's move to another one. Almonds. More than just a handful for energy.
But definitely more. Almonds are nutrient powerhouses, and they specifically target sleep regulation systems.
And magnesium pops up again here, doesn't it? Seems important.
Absolutely crucial. Magnesium in almonds acts like that natural off switch for your nervous system again. It slows things down, eases tension, both mental and physical, gets you ready for sleep without feeling wired.
Yeah, that feeling of being tense even when you're exhausted. So what else do almonds bring to the table for sleep?
They also help regulate cortisol. That's your main stress hormone.
Ah, the enemy of sleep for many.
Right. Those nights your mind is just racing with worries. High cortisol could be part of that. Almonds can help keep those levels more stable.
That mental chatter is the worst. The sources also mention vitamin E.
Yes, vitamin E is a potent antioxidant in almonds. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which many of us have from diet, stress can subtly mess with deep sleep. Vitamin E helps fight that inflammation.
Like little scavengers cleaning things up?
Kind of. They neutralize damaging molecules, especially in the brain, which helps sleep signaling work properly.
It's amazing how many background things affect sleep.
Totally. And here's another big one. The healthy fats in almonds help stabilize blood sugar overnight. You know those 2 or 3 a.m. wake-ups where you feel suddenly awake, maybe even a bit hungry? That could be a blood sugar dip. The fats in almonds give you sustained energy, preventing those crashes, helps you sleep through.
That makes so much sense. So how do we use almonds best? Just grab a handful.
A small handful, yeah, but an hour before bed is good. Raw is fine. Some people like to soak them for a few hours first.
Why soaking?
It can help reduce compounds called antinutrients that might, for some sensitive people, slightly hinder mineral absorption, like magnesium.
Interesting. And there was a suggestion for homemade almond milk.
Yes. Soak almonds overnight, peel them, blend with warm water, maybe a pinch of cinnamon. It makes a really lovely, relaxing bedtime drink.
Sounds nice. Okay, but before we get too cozy with these healthy snacks, there's something we need to talk about, something people think is sleep-friendly. Decaf coffee.
Ah, yes. The seemingly innocent decaf.
Decaf. I mean, it says decaffeinated right on it. How can that be bad?
Well, here's the thing. Decaf isn't zero caffeine. It usually still has somewhere between, say, 3% and 10% of the original caffeine.
Really?
10%?
Yeah. And for people who are sensitive to caffeine, even that small amount can be enough to disrupt sleep.
Wow, okay. I did not know it could be that high.
But it's not just the caffeine residue. It's also about how they get the caffeine out. Some methods use chemical solvents.
Like what?
Things like ethyl acetate or methylene chloride. Now, the levels are supposed to be trace, minimal, but there's a potential, even in tiny amounts, for these chemicals to subtly interfere with the neurotransmitters that control our sleep-wake cycles.
Huh. Chemical solvents. I never even thought about that part of decaf. That's a bit unsettling.
It's something to be aware of. And then there's another layer, psychology.
How so?
The conditioned response. We strongly associate the taste, the smell of coffee, even decaf, with being alert. Right?
Definitely. Morning ritual. So even with very little caffeine, that familiar ritual, the aroma, the warmth, it can still signal wake-up time to your brain. Makes it harder to actually wind down.
So the habit itself could be tripping you up, even without the caffeine.
It absolutely can. Our brains love habits, and that sensory experience might be subconsciously telling your mind to stay alert, not relax.
And that stimulation, even if it's subtle, affects deep sleep.
Yes, exactly. Deep sleep is critical. That's when your brain does its cleaning, your immune system reboots, cells repair.
All the important overnight work.
Right. So if that stage gets disrupted by, say, the lingering effects of decaf or the mental association, you can sleep the whole night but still wake up feeling groggy, unrefreshed, foggy.
So decaf could be this silent robber of good sleep, even though it's marketed as the opposite.
That's a good way to put it. It promises sleep friendliness but might be undermining it.
Okay, so what's a genuinely better choice for that warm, comforting evening drink?
A good herbal tea is fantastic, like a properly made chamomile tea. And we'll actually get into the specifics of how to brew it right later on.
Ah, okay. A little foreshadowing.
Switching from decaf to something truly calming can make a noticeable difference for a lot of people. It shows how tricky marketing can be. Okay, now. Let's shift to something bright red.
Cherries.
Cherries. Love them in summer. But for sleep, the sources called them a sleep reset.
It's a great description. Most people have no idea, but cherries naturally contain melatonin.
Wow, actual melatonin, the sleep hormone itself.
Yep, directly from the fruit. Ideally, our bodies make enough melatonin each evening, but, stress, age, screens late at night, weird schedules, all that can mess with production.
Tell me about it.
So cherries can step in. Eating about, say, 10 to 15 fresh or frozen cherries an hour before bed can help nudge your body back into a healthier sleep rhythm, like resetting your internal clock.
That sounds way nicer than popping a melatonin pill. And it's not just melatonin, right? There's more. Definitely. Cherries are packed with anthocyanins. Those are powerful antioxidants.
Antioxidants again, like in almonds.
Similar idea, yes.
Yeah.
They fight inflammation, including in the brain. Think of them as an overnight cleaning crew tackling oxidative stress. So you wake up feeling clearer, sharper.
Okay, so if you wake up feeling kind of foggy, cherries might help clear that.
Could be. And you know those morning aches or stiffness? Sometimes that's a sign you didn't get enough deep restorative sleep. Cherries seem to help us get into that deep sleep phase more easily, where the real body repair and mind rejuvenation happens. less grogginess, less stiffness maybe.
That sounds amazing, especially on those rough mornings. And something about seasonal changes.
Right. When the daylight hours shift, like spring forward, fall back, our melatonin cycle can get thrown off. Cherries can be like a little anchor, helping maintain a steady sleep schedule through those transitions.
Good to know. Now, very important question. Fresh, frozen, dried. Does it matter?
Huge difference. Always go for fresh or frozen if you can. Dried cherries often have a ton of added sugar.
Ah, sugar spike before bed. Bad idea.
Exactly. Counterproductive. Keep it fresh or frozen.
Okay, so best way to eat them, just pop them.
That works. Or blend them into a smoothie, maybe with some almond or oat milk. Simple, tasty, and backed by some decent science. All right, next up, the fuzzy green guy. Kiwi.
Kiwi. Yeah, I usually think of that for vitamin C, maybe in a fruit salad. The green protector of sleep, huh?
It sounds a bit exotic maybe, but kiwi is actually a scientifically studied sleep aid. Some really interesting research came out in New Zealand on this.
Makes sense, land of the kiwi fruit. So what's its secret?
Well, studies found that eating 1 or 2 kiwis before bed could significantly improve how long people slept and how well they slept. A big reason seems to be serotonin.
Serotonin again. It keeps coming up. Mood and sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kiwi is surprisingly rich in it. And remember, serotonin is the direct precursor to melatonin. So kiwi gives your body a head start on making that sleep hormone. It signals time to relax.
Wow, hitting both mood and the sleep hormone pathway. Powerful little fruit.
And there's more. Kiwis are also loaded with antioxidants, like vitamin C and E.
We keep hearing about antioxidants fighting oxidative stress. How does that link to waking up feeling off?
Well, that oxidative stress can interfere with brain functions like memory, clarity, concentration. If you wake up feeling disoriented, like your brain hasn't booted up yet,
Happens.
antioxidants help protect against that damage overnight. Kiwis help with that cleanup process.
Okay, makes sense. And I read something surprising about the skin.
Yes. The fuzzy skin. You can actually eat it.
Oh, really?
The fuzz, too.
Just give it a good wash, maybe a gentle scrub. The skin has even more fiber and antioxidants than the flesh inside.
No way.
Yeah. And that extra fiber is great for your digestion, which, going back to that gut-brain connection, has a surprisingly big impact on sleep quality.
Mind blown eating kiwi skin. Okay. Any pro tips for using kiwi for sleep?
Well, for a little extra boost, try pairing 1 kiwi with half a banana about an hour before bed.
Why that combo? You get the tryptophan from the banana and the serotonin from the kiwi working together. It's like giving your brain the perfect recipe to whip up melatonin.
Nice. A sleep synergy smoothie base.
Exactly. Or just blend kiwi, banana, and maybe some warm oat milk. Easy to digest, calming, perfect for winding down. Plus, kiwis might also help with anxiety and muscle soreness, other things that mess with sleep.
Good all-rounder then. Okay, now for something completely different. Sauerkraut.
Yeah. This one definitely needs a bit more explanation. It's not an obvious sleep food, and our sources were clear. Use it wrong, and it could backfire.
Backfire how? Make sleep worse.
Potentially. If you eat a big portion or combine it with things like, say, wine, chocolate, heavy meals late at night, it can mess with your neurotransmitters and digestion in a way that's stimulating, not relaxing.
Okay, so moderation and timing are key here.
Absolutely. Small amounts, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons, and pair it with something simple and grounding, like a bit of oatmeal or brown rice, and eat it at least a couple of hours before bed. Definitely don't mix it with like a big steak or processed foods right before sleep.
Right, avoid digestive chaos.
Exactly. Slow digestion, bloating. That's not going to help you sleep.
Any other warnings with sauerkraut?
Yes, histamine sensitivity. Fermented foods are high in histamines. Some people react with flushing, itchiness, maybe a headache when they wake up.
So pay attention to how your body feels.
Definitely. If you get those signs, sauerkraut might not be your friend for sleep.
Got it. If you do tolerate it, what kind should you buy or make?
If buying, look for raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut, usually in the refrigerated section. That keeps the good probiotics alive. Pasteurization kills them.
Then making it.
It's basically just thinly sliced cabbage, sea salt, packed into a jar, and left to ferment for about a week. Takes patience.
Okay, so assuming you tolerate it and use it right, how does it actually help sleep?
Well, it's a source of vitamin C, which helps regulate cortisol, the stress hormone, lower stress, potentially better sleep. And those probiotics are great for your gut health.
Back to the gut-brain axis.
You got it. A healthy gut can influence neurotransmitter production, including those involved in sleep.
So it's working indirectly through stress and gut health.
Exactly. One crucial note, though. If you take iron supplements, don't take them with sauerkraut. The vitamin C boosts iron absorption And too much iron can actually interfere with melatonin production. Keep it simple.
Good to know. Okay, sauerkraut. Interesting. Requires care. Now, something more familiar maybe. Oatmeal.
Oatmeal, yes, usually a breakfast staple, right? But surprisingly good for nighttime, too.
How so? It seems counterintuitive, like eating breakfast before bed.
Well, it's more than just cozy. It's an underappreciated sleep aid. It helps balance blood sugar, calms the nervous system, gently nudges you towards sleep if you eat it right.
Okay, break it down. What's an oatmeal that helps?
Three main things again. Magnesium, there it is again, lowers heart rate, calms the brain, relaxes muscles. Zinc, that's critical for the chain reaction that makes melatonin. And importantly, slow digesting carbs.
Why are slow digesting carbs so good at night? We touched on this with almonds.
Right. It prevents those blood sugar crashes, especially between 2 and 4 a.m. When your blood sugar dips too low, your body releases stress hormones to bring it back up, and that wakes you up.
Ah, the dreaded 3 a.m. wake-up call.
Exactly. Oatmeal provides that steady, slow release of glucose all night. No big spikes, no big crashes, more stable sleep.
That makes so much sense. Anything else special about oats?
Yeah, there's a compound called abanin in oats. It has mild sedative qualities, helps quiet that mental chatter, the racing thoughts, but without making you feel drowsy the next day.
Gentle calming. I like that. So, best way to have bedtime oatmeal?
A small bowl works great. Maybe half a cup of rolled oats cooked with warm almond or oat milk. Add a sprinkle of cinnamon, maybe a few walnuts or almonds, boost the calming and blood sugar effects.
Sounds lovely. Any other ideas?
You could even blend a teaspoon or two of ground oats into a smoothie with banana and plant milk. Super easy to digest, light, great for winding down.
Nice. And does it affect the type of sleep you get?
Research suggests it might. Regular oat eaters tend to spend more time in those deep sleep stages, the really restorative ones.
So even if you don't sleep longer, you might sleep better.
Exactly. Leading to feeling more alert, focused, better mood when you wake up. Definitely worth considering if fatigue is an issue. Okay, ready for a classic? Chamomile.
Ah, yes, chamomile tea. The go-to sleepy tea for generations, like a symbol of peace, right?
Totally. But the sources were really clear. How you make it matters a lot.
How so? I usually just dunk a tea bag for a few minutes. Is that wrong?
Well, wrong is maybe strong, but it's likely not very effective. Doing that gives you a pretty weak brew. The real power comes from a compound called apigenin.
Apigenin. Okay, what does that do?
Apigenin binds to specific receptors in your brain, creating this relaxing anti-anxiety effect. It's similar to how some medications work, but naturally, without the side effects. It's nature's way of saying time to chill.
Fascinating. So how do we get more apigenin out of the chamomile?
Right, the brewing technique. First, use dried whole chamomile flowers if you can, not just the dust in most tea bags. They hold more essential oils.
Okay, whole flowers. Then what?
Use water that's just off the boil. Let it cool for a minute, maybe to around 175, 180 Fahrenheit. When the big bubbles stop, but it's still steaming steadily.
Yeah, boiling.
Right. Use about 1 or 2 teaspoons of flowers per cup. And here's the really key part. Steep it for at least 10 minutes, maybe even 15. And keep it covered while it steeps.
Covered. Why does covering matter?
It traps the volatile essential oils where the apigenin is preventing them from escaping with the steam. Keeps the good stuff in your cup.
Ah, makes sense. Any other tips?
Use a ceramic or glass mug. Some metals might react slightly with the compounds, and you can even boost it by adding other calming herbs like passion flower or lemon balm or a tiny bit of raw honey.
So it's a whole ritual.
Kind of. Drink it maybe 30, 45 minutes before bed. Remember, it's not a knockout drug. It just creates the perfect conditions for your body to drift off naturally, effortlessly.
Preparing the way for sleep. I like that. Okay, last one on our list. Walnuts.
Walnuts. Often hailed for heart health, but they are amazing for your brain and, yes, for sleep too. They have this unique mix of healthy fats and nutrients that directly impact the nervous system.
What makes them so good for sleep specifically?
They're packed with omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Our bodies can't make these. We need to get them from food, and they're absolutely vital for making melatonin.
Ah, the building blocks again.
Exactly. Your brain uses these fats as raw materials. Eating just a few walnuts, maybe 4 or 5 before bed, can really help your body produce the melatonin it needs to fall asleep and stay asleep.
So they provide the ingredients for the sleep hormone.
They do. And guess what else? They have magnesium too.
Of course they do. Magnesium, the sleep hero.
Right. Helps lower blood pressure, slows the heartbeat, relaxes muscles. All perfect signals for sleep.
Like a little sleep kit in a nutshell.
Literally. And here's the kicker. Walnuts actually contain melatonin themselves. naturally.
Whoa. So you get the building blocks and the finished
It's
product.
got it. Direct dietary melatonin. This could be super helpful for people whose melatonin levels dip low at night, causing those wake-ups.
That's incredible. We read about a man, Martin, 67, who woke up constantly.
Yes. And he started having a small handful of walnuts with his evening meal. The result? Deeper sleep. And if he did wake up, he found it much easier to drift back off.
Amazing difference. Any tips for eating walnuts for sleep? Soaking again?
Soaking can help, yeah. About 4 hours in water can reduce phytates, maybe improving nutrient absorption and digestion.
Yeah. And pairing them, like with the kiwi.
Good idea. Pairing walnuts with a carb-rich fruit like a banana or kiwi an hour before bed is smart. The tryptophan in walnuts needs carbs to get into the brain easily to become serotonin and then melatonin. The healthy fats then help sustain that melatonin production through the night.
So carbs help unlock the tryptophan, fats keep it going.
It
Clever.
really is. Adding walnuts to your evening routine is such a simple, pasty, science-backed way to encourage your body back to its natural sleep rhythm. Helps you get that deep, restorative sleep that makes waking up feel so much better.
Wow. Okay. What a journey through the kitchen. 7 foods, all with different ways to help us sleep better.
It's pretty amazing.
We had bananas with their potassium, B6, magnesium for relaxation and melatonin, almonds with magnesium, cortisol control, stable blood sugar. Learned about decaf, maybe not being so sleep-friendly after all,
Silent robber.
right? Then cherries, giving us natural melatonin and fighting inflammation. Kiwi packed with serotonin and antioxidants. Sauerkraut for gut health and cortisol, used carefully.
Very carefully.
Oatmeal with its magnesium, zinc, and those crucial slow-release carbs. And finally, brewing chamomile the right way for apigenin, and walnuts delivering fatty acids and even melatonin itself.
It shows how powerful these everyday foods can be.
Absolutely. And the big takeaway seems to be that these are natural tools, right? They work with your body, gently guiding it, not forcing it.
Exactly. They're not instant fixes. They're about supporting your body's own innate ability to sleep well, building a better foundation over time.
So it really comes down to trying things out, seeing what works best for you personally, a bit of experimentation.
Definitely. Listen to your body. See what resonates, what feels right in your evening routine.
This has been incredibly insightful, really fascinating stuff. Okay, so for you listening, here's something to think about. Which one of these natural sleep helpers might you try incorporating tonight? Just one small change. And imagine, how could consistently using these insights actually shift your whole relationship with sleep and maybe even how you feel all day long?